All right, welcome back to the ZOTAC Cup. These are the semifinals. And spawning here in the top left corner of the map. Playing for Team Liquid, spawning blue. It is Liquid Snute. And his opponent in the upper right. Playing for Samsung Galaxy, hailing from Korea. It is a Terran player with the color yellow. Give it up for kOp. Now kOp is, of course, like I said before, guys, there's tons of the Samsung Galaxy boys that will be coming over to this, not just the ZOTAC Cup. I believe Solar is currently playing in the Go for StarCraft Cup. I mean, they're doing what they can before the Pro League starts. And again, I've only spoken to Solar. I don't know if he's speaking on behalf of his teammates or not. But what's kind of curious is they talk about how they're coming over here to get practice. I mean, the money's nice, and they're just going for a quick money grab. It's $100 here, $50 there for a show match, whatever they can get their hands on. But he told me like a lot of what he likes to do is just practice in these tournaments. Lots of good players play here, and this is the mentality. Like, okay, this is where Rifkin's gonna have the unpopular opinion. I know, because the whole region lock debate and all that stuff. But that's the mentality I wish our North American players had, where it's like, not, oh, I don't want to play because there's Koreans who will win, but it's like, I want to play because there's Koreans I can challenge to try and practice better against. So whether it's playing against other Samsung Galaxy members, players from Team Liquid, players from FOU, also from Korea, doesn't matter. You get a lot of good players who come to the ZOTAC Cups, whether it's NA or EU, and it's a good place to train. But being the Snute fans here, we can't count him out, of course. Not saying this, the crowd please. English is so difficult early in the morning. But of course, Snute is a really good player. He's trained in Korea. He was at the Red Bull Battlegrounds. This guy has been around the world and then some. So Snute is definitely not outclassed or outmatched here. This will be a good series. But of course, Snute just coming off of a meching player. Hopefully doesn't have that weird mindset where it's like, oh, right. Someone plays Bio. I forgot how Widowmines work. Of course, one of the things from Snute that you can all admire is, of course, not only his intelligence, tactical decision making. I mean, look at Game 2, the last series he played on Frost. Going Swarm Host, nah, that's kind of whatever versus Siege Tanks. But going Swarm Host and using the Vipers very early on, keeping the numbers low, like, it's intelligent small things that really make this game work. And I would expect nothing less from him here in this game. Now, I'm not expecting roaches. Although I would, oh, you know what? I'll take that back. I would love if he did like the Hyun style Roach Bane and transitioned into Mutalisk from that, but that's not something we typically see too often. It's almost more of a confined Hyun build. It's used in Korea sometimes, but it's not nearly as popular. It's just staying with the standard of the game. But alright, Link Speed coming out. There's been no Reaper harass. There's been no Hellions poking out just yet. Of course, they'll be on the way here in just a moment. The Hing style. Yeah. You guys are killing me this morning. I can't even cast. I need to just turn chat off. just turn chat off entirely and completely. But Hellions will be out here in just a moment, and has kOp scouted? No, he doesn't really know where to go immediately, but Snute he didn't play greedy, right? He didn't go 3 hatch gas before pull. Now getting his 3rd hatchery on the way. Overlords with Pneumatized Carapace coming out really quickly before lair. I love players who do this move. I just want to throw that out there, guys. You can wait for the lair. You can go for the I guess the overseers if you want, but I feel Pneumatized Carapace will get the job done early on. And much earlier, to the point where you get that scouting information up very quickly. Now, this is not only just Hellions, this is Hellion Banshee, folks. Something that fell out of style for a while. Widowmines became so darn good, this became the go-to thing. Or, well, sorry, I should say Widowmines fell out of style, so this was no longer the go-to thing. I just had to realize what I was saying. But now it's kind of coming back into fashion. We're seeing Tasha use it on a somewhat regular basis. It's so good at knocking down queens, and once those queens are gone, what anti-air is there? I mean, even without the cloak. Well, cloak makes it more powerful. Loose the Hellion.
First blood.
But unfortunately, you're gonna need every Hellion. I mean, losing one Hellion like that might not seem like a lot, but Yo, one queen, one extra queen, siege tank, no additional hellings coming out. It's just strictly the Banshee. I don't know, man. That might not work out the way I think he wants it to. Unless this is the one situation where kOp is going to cloak Banshee defensively. But even then, oh god, kOp is playing mech. Oh god, kOp is playing mech. Alright. So, Snute just finished dealing with one meching player, dances from one into another. And Snute is, he's got roaches out. He's going to be able to deal with mech, I feel, as soon as he recognizes that that's what it is. Did he actually scout those extra... No, he didn't see the armories. Okay, so everything Snute's seeing right now looks like it could be bio. He's opened with low amounts of roaches because he doesn't want to invest into something that he knows will be bad. I mean, if he puts too much into roaches and ends up being bio, he's going to regret that decision, obviously. But once he realizes this is mech, we'll probably see him invest a little bit more heavily into these roaches. He may, in fact, actually just be going Roach Hydra blindly, assuming that it will be either or. But the Spire on the way here really quick, too. That is one of the weak points of mech, of course. They don't have a lot of anti-air early. So early Mutalisks can be, quite frankly, big pain to deal with. Banshee, of course, trying to get some damage done where it can. Picking off the odd worker here, there. But, ooh, kOp! kOp going for a ninja base. Kind of cool stuff. The big thing about that is that you don't see that happen a lot. It's kind of good for Terran because you don't have to SCV transfer. You can just drop a ton of mules. But against a Zerg player, this can be quite devastating. It's not very difficult for Snute to be mobile, to move down there really quick and deal with it outright. But no idea that's there. Banshee now coming into the main. Actually, my big question is, Snute's seen the extra factories yet? No, so he's still guessing whether this is mech or not. Again, one tank out really early like this, that could just be paranoia. Playing it safe, playing it cool. And, oh, I don't believe Snute thinks this is mech, guys. He's investing in the melee upgrades. He's investing in Lings, Mutalisks as well. I presume that he's expecting bio, and that's, well, it's not like that's going to work out poorly. So, like, let's say Snute somehow gets to the point where he's 2-2 weapon upgrades and armor upgrades and still doesn't know it's mech. I mean, by then he's going to know, of course, but let's say it gets to that point. He can actually invest in Broodlords and be somewhat effective. Broodlords and Corruptors are pretty good versus mech. Not nearly as effective as they used to be due to the way the weapon upgrades work, but still pretty good. But that's a lot of Lings that are going to get not a lot accomplished versus Blue Flame Hellbats and Siege Tanks. The Mutalisks, however, will be a great asset. Over here trying to get on in. Saw those extra factories, has recognized now that it is in fact mech, and it's not canceling those upgrades. So going to continue with the melee upgrades for now. It says, alright, I'll let these finish up and probably swap over into range afterwards. Macro Hatchery finishing up in the main at the same time. I mean, okay, so the Zerglings are kind of a quote-unquote wasted investment. They can still be utilized quite nicely. There's not a lot of Banelings or really anything invested into them either, so he's not really wasted any gas into this, which is fine. Because when it comes to tech paths, the only thing that's quote-unquote wrong about choosing the wrong one is the gas you have to spend investing into it. But, ooh, actually doesn't scan these Lings that have just moved out. These are a lot of Lings. They may catch kOp off guard. The depot is down. Oh, and he's going to flood right on in. So many Zerglings getting in here. Snute. Oh god, getting right into the main. He's gonna gut this raw. Thor comes out, will even go down to the Mutalist maybe. Lots of missile turrets, though kOp is gonna play this safe. But unfortunately for him, safe might not do it. Mutalist still stands, and the Thor falls. Banshee's coming back home to clean this up. Supply depot will burn down, and the SCVs, as predicted, absolutely gutted. Goes for the engineering bay, curiously enough, but not really a necessity. Auto turret, the only form of anti-air. 4 Marines funneling in, but 4 Marines won't cut it. Missile turrets are desperately trying to be erected. Hellbats are flooding up, but Hellbats cannot shoot up. And, okay, now with the Thor, as long as Snute magic boxes, this won't be that big of a deal. Go for the master pairs. Will they be here in time? Looks like they will just barely be here in time. That second Thor will drive these Mutalisks out. Flying over top of the missile turrets. Oh, Snute gonna lose so much on his retreat. But still investing in the melee upgrades. And that quicker hive, guys, it's gotta be Broodlords. It's gotta be. I mean, Ultralisk could be a possible swap too, which are not bad versus mech, but they still struggle. Thors punch a hole in them pretty good, so do Siege Tanks. I don't know, flooding Lings and Ultras I don't think is going to cut it. I think if he mixes in Infestors with the Ultralisks, that'll be really nice, really good. But, alright, going to keep up with the Lings. Ultras Cavern on the way, and that 2-2 is only about halfway done. But yeah, definitely saying I'm gonna beat Mech with Lings. You know, it's kind of cool too because Snute just showed us they could do it with Roaches, they could do it with Swarm Host, so that's like 2 out of the 4 options. Now he's gonna do it with Ultralisks, Zerglings, and Queens. If this goes to game 3, I would hope by at that point we've seen Broodlords and Corruptors, because then it'll be of every Zerg strategy literally that can be utilized against Mech. Okay, Snute coming in. There's still those turrets he's got to worry about. I don't like the use of these Mutalisks unless he's just scouting. If he's just scouting for the 3rd, that's fine. Woodwise is going to be kind of nice here too versus the Zerglings, but of course the Ultralisks will soak up those hits so nicely. Oh yeah, you guys can vote. I'm not sure if I set the match or not. I gotta get this set up still. My bad. But okay, pushing out perhaps a little preemptively kOp. He wants to clean up some of this creep, and that's understandable, but this is not... Snute, of course, will be able to take advantage of his army being out of position, not guarding these tanks. Lings will get right on top of these immediately. Ugh. And of course, they almost have adrenal glands. Some friendly fire killing the tanks. Hell of a drug. Nice, gets the Widowmine 2 on the way out. So, you know, despite these little attacks and the round buys of that massive attack into the main earlier, this has been a somewhat passive game. I mean, kOp, of course, he's trying to keep that creep spread back. It's really important that he doesn't engage on creep, especially versus speedy Banelings or speedy Zerglings. But the Banelings, of course, here, guys, are meant to take out the Hellbats. They're not made here as a whoopsie. I thought it was still bio. And actually, even though he's creeping up this lower base, has he seen... No. Still doesn't know about this other base, so might think he's doing a little bit better than he actually is. Of course, 3-base Terran and 4-base Terran, not that big of a difference as mech, because you're not really caring about that income through resources. That's mostly about the gas, but... Snute, yeah, I don't know if he'll be able to break this here. The transfused energy is being utilized now on Queens for creep tumors, which... I don't know how much I love that choice. I guess on the Banshees, though, without any Banshees, it's going to be a little bit easier for his Ultras to push in, but still, a lot of the Queens went down there, and I would have loved to have seen Snute utilize those for transfuses. Double expanding towards the southwest while this is going on. Charges right on in, and the Queens, sadly, are not in range to transfuse, so the Thors will take these out. The Banelings were choked behind the Ultras. That was not a good engagement for Snute. I don't know, guys. That wasn't even, like, trading, really. That was just bad. That was real bad. 64 Lings being made behind this. I guess if he presumes that most of the Hellbats are dead, then he can flood the Lings afterwards, and he did manage to get at least that much accomplished. There's like 1 Hellbat available, but even then, flooding Lings with speed past all these tanks will not be an easy task. Although half of them did just unsiege. Snute might have his window here. But here come the new Hellbats. So many Hellbats. Alright, we'll try to keep the pressure strong. Ultra's going to charge in. It's like the Brood War Heart of the Swarm cinematic. Not Brood War, Heart of the Swarm cinematic. Gets right on top of the Hellbats. The Lings evaporate, but so do about half of the tanks. Is that worthwhile, though? Queens will fall here as well, so no more transfuses for a follow-up push. And Snute will kill the last couple tanks from that initial wave. But again, is that enough? There's still 2 Ultras standing. Trying to deal with this Thor. Will go down thanks to that Banshee. The 2 tanks to the south barely stand. Meanwhile, a Thor drop. What? A Thor drop actually going off down here to the south. Will make it. It's going to take out the hatchery. I don't know why, but okay, it takes out the hatchery. Picks up. Can knock down the other one. Of course, the Thor hits so gosh darn hard, guys. It'll take down Spine Crawlers. It'll even contend with an Ultras if it needs to. Not that it needs to, because of course the medevac can pick it up. Yeah, there we go. Lifts on up, can get on out of there. Meanwhile, this base still gone undetected by Snute for so long. Oh, he's going to be kicking himself. He's literally scouted everywhere else but that lower right corner of the map. Big shouts to kOp, by the way, for using Thor drops. This is something you don't ever really see, but it's always really cool to watch. Level 3 weapon upgrades and armor upgrades on the way for kOp as well. Oh, okay, unloads it. Take a queen out with him, I guess. Overseer, maybe. I mean, really, definition of consolation prize, right? But, of course, let's not forget, while he's not made any yet, guys, Snute can still transition into Broodlords. His opponent does not have a Viking count. Everything this game has been geared towards anti-ground. Whether it's the Banshee, the Raven. Okay, now he sees this top right, or lower right base. I don't know if he can break this, though. What he has is a couple Ultralisks. I think he was expecting one exposed base with a lot of SCVs. He's still going to kill a lot of the SCVs. Can he kill the Planetary, though? In the meantime, Vikings going to move out here. Again, there's such a small amount of Vikings. I think like a big wave of Corruptors, take out the air, then transform them into Broodlords afterwards might be the best bet of Snute in this sort of scenario, but knocks down the base for kOp. He's really going to be kicking himself after he realizes how long that base was mining on 22 minutes of the game. But here we go. Vikings will start to fall. Now producing 4 Vikings at a time. kOp on top of this. So often, you tunnel vision with your tech paths, but recognizing the swap from Snute, matches it with a swap of his own. Has to make sure to keep that Viking count up strong. Meanwhile, Lings do flood in here to the 3rd. kOp will absolutely lose his base if he's not careful. There might be Hellbats here, but there's also Ultralisks. Looks like he's going to push go for the trade in this sort of scenario. Snute, of course, can't really outrace him in this sort of situation, so I'm not sure this is really a base trade. I'm not going to hype. I mean, this is awkward is what it is, but here come the Broodlords I was talking about before. There's a lot of Vikings, though, or at least on the way. They're not quite here yet. He did thin out most of the Vikings on these front lines, but he needs to defend. Snute, of course, might have these extra bases up and available, but the tech's not here, right? There's no lair, there's no hive, there's no spire. He's going to lose his tech buildings if he's not careful. Has to defend the natural to the best of his capabilities. Broodlords are available now, and Lings are flooding back home. This isn't really a lot of Broodlords either, which is a little bit scary. He has to clean up the Vikings first. Once these are down, we'll probably see more Broodlords transform. But with the Vikings landing and the Broodlings going off, Ultras coming back home to defend. Can he hold this? It's going to be up to Snute to hold this. 4 more Ultras on the way. Meanwhile, Hellbats just walk into the 4th base. Oh, God. Everything getting roasted. How many workers killed so far? 69 and 47. Vikings are just being torn to shreds. Looks like Snute will hold this at home. A great hold out of our Zerg player from Team Liquid, but even with all this damage going on, he's down to 3 bases. Now he's barely down to 1.5 bases, of course. This base is mining out at the moment. So kOp definitely got damage done there for sure. Whether it was enough, I'm not thinking so. Trades away a lot of his army. Tank's going to fall here too. Gets a... Not even going to get the Ultralisk on the way out, actually. Hatchery still stands. kOp with 3 Banshees going hunting for more. And he'll kill a hatchery, he'll kill 2 hatcheries, he scans this one too, he'll get some drones with it, but those Banshees might be needed at home. Lots of Lings still flooding across, and the mech production, well, it hurts. kOp's bank has been exhausted. He needs that 4th base, and Snute is denying it to him. Banshee's going to get on top of this. There are Spore Crawlers here, though, so he'll be able to keep most of these alive. Start taking a water break there. Yeah, so he'll lose another hatchery. Not a big deal. Snute has, of course, max upgraded broodlings. So many Vikings, though, going to be kind of hard to contend with. And splash damage from the broodlings almost kills that tank. Man, playing Terran can suck sometimes. Friendly fire is not cool. Worth noting, though, Snute has actually up to 50% of the map still in creep. Some very idle queens here in the middle of the map. Gonna start spreading creep again, I imagine. They're also here for transfuses. Surprised Ultras don't do friendly fire. I'm surprised Banelings don't do friendly fire. Like, what's up with that? Have the power to destroy an entire army in 1 hit, but not the guy right next to him? Alright, army composition-wise right now, guys, we got a pretty grandstanding army here for Snute. Not exactly maxed out, but, I mean, there's still Ultras alive. There's a lot of Corruptors that can easily become Broodlords. There's 66 Lings, but most importantly, he's got bases on the map. I think the biggest quote-unquote mistake so far was allowing kOp to establish its other base, but of course, not like he could have really stopped that with the 2 Broodlords and like the 17 Lings he had before. So now mining finally again needs to get this geyser up, though. Again, when you're playing mech, whether it's air, whether it's ground, you're starving for gas. Oh god, that's a lot of Vikings that They can certainly land to try and knock down a hatchery. They can pick off overlords. Will land on the high ground here to pick off some lings. Snoot's going to need to respond, of course. Meanwhile, it looks like these Hellbats, which have constantly been walked around. Sorry, this isn't even a Hellbat this time. This is just straight up a Banshee. Vikings do pick up those kind of cool hit and run mechanics, I guess. You don't really see anyone do this. Okay, Link's going to try and filter in here. There's too many Vikings for this one Ultralist to deal with alone, so lifts up one more time. Weird dancing going on in this game, I gotta say. Like, I can't even tell you guys. This is... We got the Infestation Pit, now researching pathogen glands. So finally, you know what? I have... No, this is a brand new series. I forgot. Never mind. I was going to say, I've got the wrong score on this whole time. But it's brand new, and this is best of 3 in the semifinals. And I forgot, because it's just been here for 30 minutes. But, yeah, Ling's flooding through the center of the map. Queen's going to start reestablishing creep, something you don't often see. You know, usually when the creep dies at 30 minutes, you don't rebuild it. But I guess the kind of scary thing for Snute is his other bases are certainly under attack, and that's whatever. He built so many others that this hasn't been a problem. Mining from any of these bases, he just needs to get up and running. Both of their economies are not exactly soaring at the moment, but for kOp, he's down to 2 bases at the moment. He's not going to be taking a 5th anytime soon, and if he does, well, then he is a magic man. Let's not forget, too, as he further expands in this game, this base has already been about halfway mined out. So if this comes down to a situation where the whole map's mined out, kOp's going to mine out a little bit quicker than his opponent, not just because of mules, but because he's basically down half a base. In the meantime, Snute, though, still posturing in the center of the map. Lots of transfuses available. This air fight's going to be a little bit fickle. Queen's Course going to do what they can to add DPS to the Vikings. Landing on the ground, turning around now. These Ultras need to focus these down. There are the tanks to deal with, though, however. And with no Broodlord support, well, Transfuse is just being used up immediately. It looks like kOp will actually break this, and Snute. Guys, I think Snute's going to lose this. He's in a lot of trouble, and there's not a lot of Ravens. There's not a lot of anything, but his army supply is so heavily invested in these Corruptors, which can do absolutely nothing. And you might think, well, hey, why doesn't he just go and make some Broodlords then? There's still so many Vikings out. Fungal growth goes down, but it's one single fungal. The second these Vikings lift up, of course, they will die, but that's why they're staying on the ground. Lots of DPS being added. This base will fall as well. Snute in dire straits as he loses yet another mining base. Ling's going to flood around this. I like the use of the Infested Terrans, but I don't know if this is going to be enough, quite frankly. And even if it is, I mean, it's... I guess kOp actually traded away a large portion of his army to make this happen, too. But again, Snute's got so much of his army invested in this air that can just do absolutely nothing. Even if it's just one Broodlord, he just needs a little bit something extra, but perhaps too late at this point. kOp may have just secured this game with that final push, with that final engagement. Those Hellbats coming in. Okay, never mind. Good game is going to be called. Ladies and gentlemen, Snute will go down in game number 1. But kOp will take the victory. Segue. But okay, it's a